One day when I got home from school in grade 11, I, for some reason, suddenly decided I wanted to get into watching anime. I've had friends who watch anime, and I never mocked them for it, but it was never really something I was looking to get into. But some switch just went off in my brain that said you should give it a try, so I decided that I would. And when I was at home, I was trying to think about which anime to start with. There's so many. I decided I would then go with one that, something it had something I liked about a topic that I liked, and I thought about it, and I'm like, well, what do I like? I like video games, so I looked up anime about video games. Sure enough, there is many anime about video games. And the very first anime that came up was one called Sword Art Online. So I watched the first episode, and I was immediately hooked. And from there, Sword Art Online would go on to change my life, change a lot of the things I enjoy now. I would continue to watch Sword Art Online up until the end of the first season, and that took me to about 2 months to do. And after the first season, I didn't watch the second one immediately, even though it was on Netflix. I decided I wanted it was a happy ending, and there's always the option that the next season would ruin that, and I didn't want that to happen. So I stopped after the first season, and I decided I would watch the second one at a later date. Lo and behold, a couple days later, I find that Sword Art Online is no longer on Netflix, and I went, well, that's that then, and I thought nothing of it. Then, a couple months later, I was browsing Netflix, and Sword Art Online was there. It came back. It never left. What happened was season 3 was dropped, and the rating went up to TVMA, and my account at the time could not watch TVMA content. So now that I could, it popped back up. And I decided that I was going to watch the whole show again. I was going to start from the beginning and go up to season 3 and watch it all. And I couldn't have chosen a better time. At this point, I was in a very bad place mentally. I was thinking some very bad thoughts about myself, about life in general. My physical health was also very bad. And I was in the best way I can say it, wasting away. There were times I thought about seeking another way to make it all stop. However, I didn't need to do that, because I started to get into Sword Art Online. The first time I watched the show, it was just that. It was just a show. But the second time I decided to watch it, it was different. Because now I had a place I could go to escape all of my negative thoughts, to escape the fact that I wasn't in the best health, to escape any arguments I may have been having with my parents, to escape any drama that was going on in my household. I could go into Sword Art Online, and I could figuratively put on a nerve gear and enter the world and just escape and have fun. Have fun with all these bright and colorful characters exploring these worlds that I could only hope to. And getting so invested into the storylines of a video game that you can't escape from, a video game that you're stuck in, and exploring its mechanics and seeing the characters fight to survive in this impossible situation, to seeing them go to a world about fairies and elves and Kate Siths and all this stuff, to seeing them go to a world with guns and laser swords, all cyberpunk-like, with the threat of an actual murderer on the loose, to see them then deal with a disease and an illness, to them then making a movie about something that, again, is not too far off from our own, and seeing the relationships of the characters be mainly put front and center in that, to then being given the biggest of them all, which is now an entirely different world you can live in the underworld, with people who exist only there, but they aren't just fake AI people, they are legitimately real people with a soul and everything. It was all just so wonderful to me. And it meant a lot. I got invested into the characters, into Kirito, into Asuna, into Sinon, into Leafa, into Yu-Gi-Oh, into Alice. I got invested in them all. I got invested into the storylines of Aincrad, where you're in a video game that you can't escape, so you have to make the best of the situation. To the fairy dance, where Kirito is doing his best to fight in a new unknown world to save Asuna. To Phantom Bullet, where we get a brand new video game with the threat of an actual murderer killing people in the video game. To Caliber, which was just a nice fun little story of them having fun for once in a video game. To Mother's Rosario, where you get to explore Asuna and her side and deal with Yuki, who was going through a very bad situation. To Ordinal Scale, which showed the relationship and how much Kirito and Asuna feel about each other, as well as showing what we can do eventually with the world of video games. To Alicization and War of Underworld, which was, again, like an entirely different thing, because we're in this world that's it's another world. We've made another world that you can go and explore. You can go and live in. You can live, as they showed, you can live an entire life there. That's what made me fall in love with the show, was the amazing ideas, the amazing stories, the amazing characters, all the worlds we could go to. And also the fact that I had a place to go to. I had a place I could go to feel safe, to feel comforted, to feel wanted in a way. And that was watching and exploring Sword Art Online. And when I finished watching the show, I wanted more. So I got the books. I got the novels. I started to read the mangas. I now play the video games. Because I want more of the world. I want more of this world that helped me get out of a bad situation. That helped me realize that no, there is a way out. That doesn't involve you hurting yourself. This is the way out. You just enjoy being with these people who, yes, they're fictional and not real. But just because something's not real doesn't mean, it doesn't have a real impact. It does. We're all impacted by fiction and fictional characters. I'm no different, as I'm telling you. Sword Art Online also helped me make something I've struggled with, which was making friends. I have friends online who I talk about the show with. Who we debate over silly things about which story arc we think is better, which character we think is better, what's the coolest sword battle in Sword Art Online? What video game would you actually go to? You know, we talk about all this stuff and it makes me feel like I matter now. I matter. Sword Art Online made me feel like I'm an actual person who actually matters. And I will always love Sword Art Online no matter what, because it was my first anime. It was a brilliant, brilliant TV show. It's been a brilliant novel series that I still read to this day as the new books come out. It is a fantastically, beautifully drawn just experience. It has great characters who I sympathize and can feel with. It's just everything I needed at that horrible time, and it's everything I continue to need as I go forward. So I thank Sword Art Online, I thank Reiki Kawahara, because without you, I don't know where I'd be today.